Hello, 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 hello. Good morning.
Good morning from the West Coast. How's the East Coast?
East Coast is good. The thing is, it's really early on in yours. So you're up bright and early, getting ready to start the day. It's a little later here, but it's going to be a hot one today.
Yes, I know. It's so funny how different our weather patterns are. We can be
Yeah.
freezing, we're sweltering, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. So listen, thanks for joining us here on Mindset, Motivation, and Mastery. So today you're going to talk a little bit about like 3 things to hit your goals, right? So obviously, we've all gone through this whole crazy pandemic, and it's one of those things that not just the West Coast, not just the East Coast, not just Canada, not just like the whole world has been hit and affected by this in every single industry, right? So we've got people like in our industry, in the real estate industry, we've got people that are going, and they're readjusting their goals and they don't, not sure if they're going to hit them. And here's the truth. I still think they can hit them. We just got to adapt and change and make sure we focus on that. So talk to me a little bit about these 3 things and a little bit about who you are. And I know that you've recently released this No Matter What journal, which is again hitting the shelves. So that's cool. That's exciting because again, it's super important to help people move forward. So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, let's start about who we are and how we know each other, right?
Sure.
So we've known each other for about 3 years now because we're both Tom Ferry coaches. And so we see each other, I guess, 3 to 4 times a year at Tom Ferry events. Oh, no, actually, you and I see each other a little bit more because I've got family in Ottawa and you and I seem to see each other. And we went skiing last year at Whistler, and so
we did.
So I always love bouncing ideas off you. So goals. Probably the same in that, we help agents write their business plans, and October, November comes around and they're like totally fired up about their plans and they're really clear on what they want, and they go away for Christmas holidays and they come back and they're still like, yes, this is the year. And we hit about January 20th and there's a great divide in the road, and a lot of people are just like, goals? What goals? Or, there's another goal, right? The squirrel syndrome. They follow a different path.
Yeah.
And what you and I have both seen is that the guys that hit their goals are the ones that are really clear on what they want, why it's important to them, and how to get there. And this is the key, is that they remind themselves of that every single day, every week, every month.
Yeah, clarity is power, right? Clarity is power. And like this time of the year, coming up on say Q3 or the middle of the year, I always have people like bring out their business plan and like relook at what they created in the beginning of the year. Number 1 is to see if they're following what they said they would do, or number 2, if they got to readjust because they're getting better results in one area than in another, or whatever, right? So for sure.
Yeah. Well, then that's the whole key, is like going back to the plan. The things we try and measure, the things that we improve. So going back to the plan and making sure you're taking the right path to get there. One of my favorite studies on goal setting was done in 2015. It was by a Dr. Gail Matthews. And this is a great study. She looked at people in the workplace and she divided them into 5 groups. And she said, okay, I want you guys to think about your goals. And the first group, that's what she said to them. Just think about what you want your goals to be. And then the second group said, okay, I want you guys to write down your goals. And then the third group, she said, I also want you to write down your action plan. So the things that you're going to do daily, weekly, monthly to get there. And then the fourth group, she said, I want you to do all those things, and I want you to share your goals and your plan with a friend.
Yeah.
And then the fifth group, she said, do all those things, but I also want you to build in weekly accountability with somebody. Well, at the end of the study, the ones that were in group 5, I think like 80% of them had reached their goals. Whereas the ones who were just kind of thinking about what their goals were, maybe only 30% had either reached their goals or were on the path to their goals. So the 3 things to reach your goals are: write them down.
Write them down.
Number 2 is put together the action plan. So what are you going to do every day, every week, every quarter to get there? And then the third thing is build in accountability, right? And so that's kind of how this whole journal came about, because I would see agents or, you know, entrepreneurs that I've worked with, and they knew what they want, but they would often, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it, they would forget the vision, or they would forget what their why was associated with it.
Yeah.
And so the name is significant no matter what, because it's, okay, what do you need to do today no matter what? Like, what are your non-negotiables that you need to do to get to your goals? And what I have to do today no matter what is different than what you have to do today no matter what. But we both have non-negotiables of things we have to do no matter what.
Yeah. And we talked, I was on a panel with Tom Ferry, Tom Ferry, I guess it was yesterday. So I was on there yesterday, and that's one of the things that we talked about is how to get people moving forward is kind of knowing, recognizing, and implementing the strategy of, listen, we know what our non-negotiables are, and we do them no matter what. Like, we do them, you know, no matter how busy we are, no matter what we have going on, these are our non-negotiables, and we do it. No different than, I was going to say eating, but a lot of us don't eat when we should. But I mean, the reality is no different than eating or no different than sleeping. Like, we do it no matter what, right? So,
yeah. And so, you know, what happens in this journal is, you every quarter you recalibrate your calendar. And so you look at, based on what my goals are.
I think we broke up.
Okay.
Did we break up? I think it's the fun of live events is when your internet's, you know, shoddy, then you go out. So I think you broke up. What was the last thing you said there? Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But on my screen, we broke up. I didn't hear it.
We did the freeze. We did the
yeah,
freeze.
we did that.
So one of the exercises the writer will do in this journal is, at the beginning of every quarter, because the journal is for a quarter, is you look at your goals and you look at your calendar and you recalibrate your calendar. You say, okay, based on my day, based on my powerful start to the day, my evening routine, what I absolutely need to do in my morning, and what I absolutely need to do in my afternoon for my work day. What are the 3 most important things I need to do every day, no matter what? Right? And you want to check in on that every quarter, because you have the goals, but sometimes you have to change the path of how you get there. One of the things that really stuck out to me when we started to go through this pandemic, one of the things that Tom said was, you know, we're not changing what we do, we just need to change how we do it.
Yeah, very true.
Right? And so, you know, our agents had to go from doing open houses to virtual open houses. They had to go from doing live listing presentations to virtual listing presentations, more electronic signatures. So they were still doing the same thing. It's just they had to do it. They had to change the way that they were doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And again, there's many paths to it. And that's why I was saying, like, even though we've gone through this pandemic, the winners coming out of it, and again, you and I both know, because like you said, we both coach some of the elite real estate people all across North America. And we know those that adapted to, you know, the climate quickly and saw the opportunity, because like in every area, there's always opportunity. Those clients of ours that adapted to that quickly really didn't see a whole big hit to their numbers. They adapted quick, right? They said, okay, if we can't go and see people, how do we get in front of people? They took advantage of Zoom, took advantage of whatever. And you know, listen, if we can't do open houses, how do we promote our houses? How do we continue to gain exposure for our properties? And they jumped right into virtual open houses, or they jumped right into virtual presentations, all of that. They, you know, with buyers, they're like, okay, great. Now I can't sit in a room with a buyer. What do I do? Well, they got them on Zoom and they walked them through the same thing that they would walk them through. And those clients that jumped on that out of the gate, it's funny because I coach a team in California, and I was speaking with another team in kind of that area. And the other team said, listen, this particular team, they didn't know I was coaching, but this particular team, they were really on it. Like before the pandemic even hit, we noticed that their marketing changed, the way they were doing business changed, and they are killing it right now coming into this. And I'm feeling the struggle. And so it's exactly what you said is how do we adapt to what's going on? How do we make that change? And then how do we write it down and how do we commit and follow it? Like that's it, right? So awesome.
Yeah. And the other thing I've seen in agents who have done okay and have really continued to thrive in this environment are the ones that are really connected to their why. And so, we've seen some highs and lows in the markets in the past couple of weeks, the past couple of months, but the ones who are really connected to their why were the ones that when it was really crazy and they didn't even have time to like maybe run to the bathroom or make a cup of coffee, they're like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. Or, there was a time that this pandemic really challenged our mindset.
Oh yeah.
And ones that knew their why they were doing this, that was like our reasons drive our results.
Yes.
And that's one of the other exercises that you go through in the journal. And when we write our business plans on, I think it's page 1 or page 2 of the business plans we do in coaching, there is that exercise in terms of what is your why?
What is your why?
And there's two things that I like to do that I think really helps define that. Because do you find that you have people say, how do I know what my why is? I get that. So there's two exercises that I do that's super helpful. Is number one is look 3 years into the future and create your vision. Like, don't worry about how I'm going to get there. Just visualize it. Just visualize what are we in now? We're in 2020. So I would think about like December 31st, 2023. Like, what does that look like? What's my revenue? What does my team look like? When I look at my Google reviews, what do they say? How do I spend my days, my week? Like, what's it all about? And one of my favorite books, I don't know if have you read the book Vivid Vision?
I haven't. No.
Okay, nope. It's actually written by a Canadian. Canadian's name is Cameron Harold. And it takes you through the exercise of how to project out into the future. And so in the journal, one of the opening pages is like, what's your vision? And so like rewrite what that vision is 3 years out. So that's exercise number 1. And then exercise number 2 is, we always hear Tom talk about like the 8 equities of your life. And so this is an exercise going through, it's broken down into 5, but it's looking at those 5 areas of your life and deciding what you want in each of those areas. So health and vitality, wealth and contribution, travel and adventure, relationships and connections, mindset and personal growth.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the quarter, I just think to the future and I think of like, what do I want to experience in each of those 5 areas? Yeah. And I don't worry about if I can do it or not right now. I just, like, for example, I always go back to, I'm looking at my journal here.
Is that in your journal? those 5 pillars? Yeah. Pillars, but they are perfect. Awesome.
Yeah. So for example, under travel and adventure, one of the things I said I wanted to do is I want to go to New York City with my daughter and watch a live taping of SNL. Right. Cool. I can't do that right now.
No.
But
we're not allowed to leave the country, Janet.
Can't leave the country. And they're not taping right now. But, that's part of my why. And I read that every evening before I go to bed. And that just, gives me some clarity on why I'm working and what I'm doing and what the big picture is.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good. So the exercise of visualization, Tom talks about doing the exercise of visualization every day, like participating in that every day. So seeing your future. And again, not buying too much into the, hey, this is what I need. Not that that's not important, but this is not how I'm going to get here. But really then going, okay, if that's where I want to be long term, what's my short term path to get there? Right. And what is that what does that short-term path look like? Even coming all the way back is, man, when I wake up each morning, what are my non-negotiables? What is my morning routine? What is like all of that? Like the strength, the strength of your day comes from how you start your day and your morning routine and all of that sort of stuff. Really, a lot of those pillars that you talked about, the 5 pillars, right? Again, for us, if we've got total clarity on all of that, then our day becomes, it's worth getting up and having a powerful level 10 day, right? And listen, let's be honest, every day is not going to be level 10. I wish it would. That'd be great. But there's nothing holding us back from shooting for a level 10 every day, right? And some days will, and some days will be tough. Listen, some days you're going to have a level 1, and that's a whole different story. You got to learn, how do you manage at a level 1 and then get back on the track to show up the next day as a level 10, right?
Yeah. So
cool.
do you have a good morning routine?
I do. Like, I mean, I get up every morning. I do start my day with visualization. I start my day with affirmations. And then I have what I would call a meditation time. It's just a time where I listen to music. I think about what's going on. Then I actually look at my day and plan for the day. And when I say plan for the day, I look at my schedule and I actually plan out pretty much every little detail. Like, I'm going, okay, I've got these 3 calls and I've got that 30-minute break. And in that 30-minute break, my goal is to get this done. And then I have my next whatever 3 calls. And then, okay, on my middle break of the day, my goal is to get this accomplished, right? And so I live in my schedule. Like, if you look at my schedule, it's very detailed. So then if it's not in my schedule already when I wake up and I want to get certain things done during the day, I go to that area and I put in those tasks. And, there are people who say that, hey, to-do lists work. I don't know. For me, I take everything that I want to get done for that day, and then I put it in my free slots when I wake up in the morning. I review and mentally prepare for the day. So then when I enter into my day and I start, like, for example, you and I, we both do a lot of coaching. So when I enter my day for coaching, there's no, I call it scrambled brains. There's no scrambled brains, right? We're entering, we get clear focus on what our day looks like. And we know what we have to do. And then truly, like, this is going to sound, but I look forward to the end of my day, because then I have cool things that I get to do with one of my whys, right? Like, I have the kids, and either we're going out in boat, or the kids want to go on the raft, or we're going swimming or whatever, right? So then I even plan that ahead. My wife makes fun of me because she's like, Jared, everything that you do is planned. Like, you even plan your dinner, your lunch and your dinner is planned before you even wake up. And it's very true, because I don't want to think about my day. Like, I don't want to have to go through my day and say, what's next? I just want a super clarity in that. And then at nighttime, before I go to bed, again, I'm reviewing all that sort of stuff. So I'm super routine person. I'm super in my schedule, and I don't ever fly by the seat of my pants, because this is the deal. When I first started in real estate, that's how I lived. And I lived in overwhelm. And Tom used to always say to me, Tom was my coach when I did real estate. Tom would always say to me, if you're constantly in overwhelm, you're constantly underplanned. And I was like, first I fought with them, right? Of course, like any coaching client does with us, right? They thought, no, that's not true. I'm super planned. I know exactly what I'm doing. He's like, nah, you don't. And right, and he would challenge me on that. And it's very true. When I really got planned and I really followed my schedule. I mean, that's why, like, what you're doing with No Matter What, I think is great, because I think if every person got a full grasp, if every person got a full grasp on what their schedule is and their routine is, and again, all of that, they're going to win. And when you talked about the non-negotiables, I used to wake up as a real estate agent every morning and just fly by the seat of my pants, which means what got left out? What's the number one thing that got left out in most of my days?
Probably making your calls.
The most important thing, right? Like driving new business. The most important thing got left out, right? Because I was trying to do what was easy, right? And what was whatever. But, Tom taught me that my calls were treated like the most important appointment in my day. And when I had that mind shift of, I don't schedule over it. I don't do anything. Now, I'm not going to say that I never did, but I'm going to say 90% of my time, my mornings from 8:30 in the morning till 11 in the morning was always booked, no matter what my conversation was. And it became a mental shift. Like, it became a mental where people would go, hey, I want to book at this time. And I wouldn't even think about, hey man, I'm booked at that time. And that's the mindset and attitude that you have to have. And that's developed. Like, and I'm going through some stuff learning about the subconscious mind and creating habits in the subconscious mind, it became a habit in my subconscious mind. I think we're on breaking down. So either way, I don't know if Janet is slowly coming back, but it became a habit in my subconscious mind that allowed me to continue to move forward. All right, let's see here. So I want to share real quick. I'm assuming if let me see, because it looks like I'm live and Janet is still there. So let me. What I want to do while Janet jumps back on is I want to share with you. Let me just do this really quickly. The joys of live streaming. I want to share with you really quickly Janet's journal. So this is again Janet's journal here. And again, I'm going to walk you through some of the kind of the pillars of the journal. Right? Make the commitment. So ultimately, making that commitment. Oh, Janet's back. Hold on here.
Can you see me?
There she is. She's back. So Janet, I was gonna say you disappeared, so I jumped in. I was gonna take over your journal for you, but like now that you're back, I'll let you go ahead and explain kind of the journal. I pulled it up and I was about to share it.
Okay, so 10 out of 10 on your end for pivoting and just like this is live, making it happen, right?
That's right. That's right. I was gonna take it over.
Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah. So let's just do a little walkthrough of what it is. So it's a journal you start every quarter. And the first thing is that number one there is you make the commitment. And then basically what you're committing to is it just says, I'm committed to taking action every day on the short-term actions that align with my long-term goals. And you sign it. And there's something pretty powerful when you see your signature, you're making a contract with yourself in terms of that you are actually going to do this. And then why don't you flip to number 2 there?
Sure.
It says visualize the future. And yeah, that's just open space for you just to write in and just, like I said before, just visualize how you see your life and how you see your business 3 years out. Okay.
Yeah, so I would put like bullet points, man. This is what I see. This is where I see I'm living. This is what I see even one of the things that I did is I took those 5 pillars you talked about and I'm like, okay, in those 5 pillars in 3 to 5 years, what does my life look like? That maybe it's, I'm 180 pounds, lean, mean, smoking hot machine. I don't know, like whatever that is for you. I don't know, like that's, again, or it could be that, hey, like you said, you want to take this trip. Like I know for us, our family, one of the things that we want to do at some point is go on a African safari. Obviously, I'm very connected to that. So that's our goal as a family, as our family gets a little older to do that. So like we would put that as a bullet point, right? So just take a good way to do this, because a lot of people I think would struggle going, oh, what do I really want? And take those 5 pillars and go, in 3 years, this is in each of those pillars what I really want to do.
Well, and also think about how old your kids are going to be. That was the one that I was thinking, whoa, they're going to be 25 or 22, like they'll be done university. And that was like, oh my gosh. So what does that look like? Where are they living and all those things? Yeah. So if you want to go to number 3 this is just a space. It says, define this year. This is the year. So you've written your annual plan. You can either just like free form sketch and remind yourself all the projects you said you were going to do, or just list sort of like 20 things that you want to accomplish in your business. It's how you want it, but it's just reminding you of that big picture of where you want to be December 31, 2020. Okay. And then if you hit number 4, this is that section that says my reasons drive my results. So those are the 5 categories we talked about. So what you do is you just do a brain dump of where you want to be, what you want to experience in each of those 5 areas. And then at the bottom right-hand corner, it says, okay, of all those things that you've written down, like the 15, 20 things, what are just the 3 most important, right? Like just narrow it down to 3. Like the 3 that you absolutely want to remember. Because those 3, you're going to rewrite those 3 every week when you do Sunday planning. Okay, let's go to the next one. Plan the quarter. And we do this a lot in coaching, right? We take our big goals, and then at the beginning of the quarter we say, okay, well, where do we want to be by and that's about to happen, right? We're about to hit Q3, July 1. So we're going to visualize, where do we want to be by September 30th? Like, what does our business look like? And then why is that important to me? And then you just do, again, a brain dump of all the things that you need to have in place. Like, who would you be if you were already there, right? Like, what would your habits and routines be if you already, and what are all the things that you need to get in place? Like, who are the people you need? What are the projects? What are the questions that you need to get answered? That's a really good way to to map out your 90-day plan, is think, I need an answer to all these questions, right? Just get it out.
Hey, Janet, I'm not trying to interrupt you here, but I'm just, being we're talking about scheduling. I just want to make sure you're keeping track of time, because I know you said, Jared, I got 30 minutes and that's all I got. So I want to be respectful of your 30 minutes too. So if you got all the time in the world, I'm all ears, but I'm
okay. So let's let's do a couple of more minutes. So align your actions. That's the next one. If you want to click on that next one. So this is that exercise that I talked about, figuring out what your no matter what is, right? So break your day into 4, decide what your non-negotiables are, your no matter what. And then take those and put those in your calendar. And what I would do is, after you write what the action is, like, make my calls or appointment setting time, I would write no matter what. So you're going to see that in your calendar next to that time block that you have. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Design the week. This is something that I never did until I got into the coaching world. This is something that both Tom and Bill Pipes taught me. And this has been a real game changer, is that I do it on Sunday, spend at least 30 minutes, and I look ahead to the week, look at my schedule, but I also look at, where are my results so far this quarter, so far versus where I said I wanted to be. And how do I feel about that? And then I do a KISS analysis. So KISS is not keep it simple, stupid. KISS is keep, increase, start. So I look at how I've done so far, and I've said, great, based on how things are going, what do I need to keep or increase doing, start doing, or stop doing? And then the last thing I ask myself is, okay, where do I want to be by the end of the week? Like, what are the 3 most important things that I need to get done by the end of the week, so I'm still on pace and on track to get to my quarterly plan, which links into my annual plan.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yep.
And then let's go to the daily ones. So you've got a morning page and an evening page. Obviously, you start your morning with affirmations and gratitude lists, and you rewrite those 3 things that you're doing every day, no matter what, to build that habit. And you mentioned about to-do lists before. So on the daily page, it doesn't ask for to-do lists. It's 3 daily outcomes. So what are the 3 things? So you write it as if it's already happened.
Yeah.
You write it as if it's already happened.
Almost
and then
like an affirmation.
Exactly. And then in the evening, a little debrief, wins, losses, how can I improve?
Nice.
And so if you didn't get that listing presentation, don't stay in a negative space. Just say, okay, I didn't get it. What will I do differently next time?
What do I got to change? Love it.
Right? And so you just go through that whole pattern for 91 days. And then if you want to just go to number 10.
Okay.
Decide what's next. Okay. So then you're going to do a little debriefing exercise. Where are you at in terms of those equities of your life? And, are you state of disease, wellness, or greatness? That's something that Tom talked about as well. And then what's next? So, this is one chapter in your life. Close that chapter and then decide what's next.
What's the next chapter?
And then the last part is remember your dreams. Okay. And this is a really important part, is anytime you say to yourself, can you imagine? Write it in there.
Love it. Love it.
And whatever happens during your day, it's like, oh my gosh, can you imagine if Jared asked me to be on a podcast with him or on his show with him and we got to talk about this journal? Like all these things that pop into your head, that's how they happen.
Love it. Love it. We actually, it's funny because I have one of my kids, Connor, he's a dreamer, right? Like he's a big dreamer, and we walk every morning. And that's one of the things that we talk about is kind of, you know, what if this happened and what if that happened? This would be amazing. And like he's created some really amazing things in his mind. Because I'm again, if you look at Todd Herman, what we talk about in Todd Herman's book, The Alter Ego, of creating something and then becoming that person, right? I mean, again, for him, for me, that's really important with him, and you know, even our littlest one. So cool. All right, I know you've got to jump, Janet. I super appreciate you being on our show. Where can people go real quick at this point to get what we're talking about here?
Yeah, so I mean, I would love it if you guys gave us a follow on Instagram, No Matter What Journal. We also have a Facebook page and LinkedIn, both as No Matter What Journal. And when you go on to those social media accounts, you'll see the link to the website. And yeah, I'd love for you to give us a follow, especially on Instagram, because we're always putting up tips and tricks in terms of how to journal and how to reach your goals. And yeah, we do some interviews with people who are already using the journal and how the journal has helped them reach their goals.
Awesome. Love it, Janet. Thanks for your time, guys. Follow her on Instagram. Again, I think it's right below us here. No matter what journal, Facebook page, No Matter What Journal. Janet, you're an amazing coach, which is one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you. This journal is like awesome, and it's really what everybody needs. So I appreciate your time today. Have a powerful day, and thanks for joining us on Mindset, Motivation, and Mastery.
See you next time, Jared.
See you later.